This demonstration of the installation of the lockpick. We're in a 2013 Ford Focus. Get two connectors to unplug in the backside. There's a little tab you press in on the backside here to release this connector. A little tricky. The lockpick is a simple plug-and-play device. You're going to press the front side of this little locking bar here, just release the tab, and then the bar opens up and it releases the connector on the way. When you install yours, you're going to place the module and the harness and stuff back behind the screen before you put it back in. Before plugging your module into the lockpick harness, you want to check your dip switch settings. On the communication side, you want to make sure 3 and 4 are down. On the other side of the module, make sure your rotary switch is set to number 3 and your option switches are set as you desire. Those are detailed in the instruction manual. You also have video inputs for cameras in here, and there's a separate video input on the harness for a rear view camera. We'll go ahead and plug this in now and go through the startup procedure. Whenever you turn your car for the first time after installing the lockpick, you might have to wait up to 30 seconds or so before the screen will light up and begin the boot up process. Sometimes you'll see an information here that says performing system maintenance, and then a bar graph will show up on the screen. And again, this is an installation because the screen was unplugged and because you're plugging in the lockpick afterwards. And here it's been about 30 seconds now. The sync message shows up on the screen. You get a little bar graph that will increase. I'd say it takes about a half a minute. You get to the end of the graph, kind of hang for a second, and then the radio will reboot with the new features added. Okay, in this particular vehicle, we do not have a factory rear view camera. We're going to add that for our installation. The lockpick makes that easy. All you're going to do is take switch number 1, and we'll place it down. The screen will go black immediately, and it's going to stay black for up to 30 seconds before it reboots again. It'll come back on with the word sync and say performing system maintenance underneath it. This is while the screen's being reprogrammed. Say just be patient, it takes about 30 seconds before it comes back on again. Okay, go ahead and demonstrate here. What we've done is connected a video source to the rear camera input. This is on your lockpick harness. You'd normally plug in your camera here, we're just plugging in an iPhone to it. I'll go ahead and activate that, place the vehicle into reverse, and the screen will automatically change to the rear view, which in this case here is just our movie playing. It turns off automatically when you place back into drive or park, just like standard factory one would. The operation of the lockpick in the Ford Focus is very simple. We're just going to use a single button on the back of the steering wheel here, the one labeled voice. If you take and hold it, after 3 seconds you get an audible beep. That's the override. Keep holding it. Second beep is going to be for the camera. We've enabled the backup camera. You can switch to the sources with the same button. You can also turn off the same functions with just by holding again. So just hold it for your 3 seconds. Get a double beep. Camera turns off. Same thing for the override. If you're going to turn on the override for the video jacks, just hold it for 3 seconds. You get a beep. Those jacks are then enabled. Turn it back off again using the same process. As mentioned before, there's 2 more video jacks on the module itself. These are have different functions. This one can be used for a front camera or any camera that you'd like to, or any of the function. But it's designed primarily for a front camera. You can enable that so it'll turn on automatically whenever the car's in drive and below 7 miles per hour, or you can turn it on whenever you want to, again using the steering wheel controls. To enable these video functions, just use buttons 3 or 4, or dip switch 3 and 4. 3 turns on this jack, 4 turns on this jack. Okay, reassembly is just the reverse order earlier. This has a very tight screen to get in there, so you gotta have to lift up a little bit on it to wedge it back in. Plug it in behind the switches here. That completes your installation in the Ford Focus.